Hi, this is Rabbi Rachel Gartner, and I am the Director for Jewish Life here at Georgetown, and it is a particularly meaningful pleasure to be here with you to join in my colleagues in providing what Father Bosco so beautifully calls spiritual continuity for these times when we all really need it. I find myself thinking a lot about Psalm 29 at this time, which reads in parts, Adonai lamabul yashav, Adonai lamabul yashav, which means God dwells in the torrents, in the tumult, in the whirlwind of currents that surround us. God actually dwells. And so what I'm finding myself doing and inviting you to join me in doing is seeking that sense of God's presence, even at this time. Looking for it, and even for those of us that aren't so sure we can really experience it, to invite that possibility. Where might we find it? How might we find it? And then take the leap and ask for what we need. Perhaps we need a little courage, or a little kindness, a little more generosity with someone we're living with, a little more calm for ourselves, a little more ability to go with the flow, to trust. What is it that we need? Adonai lamabul yashav. And in Judaism, whenever we say that God does something, there is an implicit call for us then to do the same in imitation of God. And so I've also been asking myself, what does it mean for me to dwell? And for us to dwell, and to really maybe even find ourselves in a new way in the middle of the tumult. And on a very, what we would call pshat level, direct, simple level, I think that literally means to dwell at home, right? To dwell not and in place, not only to take care of ourselves, but to take care of the vulnerable ones in our families, in our communities, and in our society, to dwell in that way. But on a deeper level, I think it's also an invitation to dwell in this torrent in a way that is different than we might dwell in everyday life, right? So many of us have been sort of going, how do we do everything online? How do we make it business as usual? Well, the fact is, this time is not business as usual. And no matter how hard we try to make it so, it won't be. So what if we invited ourselves to look at this time with a curiosity? How might it be different? How might I dwell in it just a little bit differently for a little while? A sort of spiritual experiment or exercise, if you will. Who knows? What might we learn about ourselves and about each other? About what we care most about, maybe what we don't care so much about. And lastly, I want to invite you to join me in taking the time to dwell in the tumult by actually dwelling quietly, to take a moment every day to sit in silence and in stillness, and to listen, perhaps for the still small voice that might rise up within us from that, to listen for our own wisdom, to listen for whatever holiness, inspiration, or divinity emerges for us in that moment before we go about our day. Thank you. Please know that we here in campus ministry at Georgetown are dwelling in this time with you. You are not alone.